Okay, we're finally at the Chapel of Rest. I have stopped at 2 different places waiting on this place to open its gates at the bottom of the hill. And apparently they open them at after 10 o'clock. But everybody has heard stories about this place. And I've got a couple of stories. And if there is any ghost in here, hello ghost, I'm back. But it's a beautiful church. But it's also supposed to be haunted. And everybody has heard the story about the preacher that hanged himself from those rafters up there. And that is supposed to be the blood stain on the ground that came from him. And they can't get it out. But another story that I've heard is actually from my mom's husband's sister. She's supposed to be one of these people that can hear ghosts and stuff. She said that she went up to this altar, she walked up to it, and she got pushed back by something that didn't want her here. But another story that I've heard, and I guess this is why so many people wanted to come up here in the dark, but laying right here, if you come up here in the dark, there is supposed to be a book laying on this altar that tells you when you're going to die, like what date you're going to die. I've never seen the book, and I've been up here in the dark before they actually put the gate up, because right down there at the end of the road, out that window, you can barely make out a sign. The road to this church used to be right there, and it was too hard to see around the curve coming this way, so they rebuilt the road. That way you could see cars coming from each end. They rebuilt the road, and when they rebuilt the road, they put that gate up. Real squeaky floor right there. Kind of sounds like somebody's in behind you. But here are the doors that lead outside to the graveyard. And they do keep these locked. If you go straight out that door, that's actually a bathroom on the other side. But here is the back of the church. And another thing that I have also heard is the lady that I was talking about inside the church, her daughter supposedly has the same thing. And she said that she come right here in this little spot, looked in the graveyard and seen a bunch of spirits and ran back to the car and would not get out. So whether all that is true or not, I have no idea. But up there is the bell, and you can actually ring the bell. It's got a string inside that you can pull. Now we're going to go inside the church cemetery. But as you can tell, there is a lot of old graves. Some of these graves date back to the 1800s. And if I'm not mistaken, the man, William Lenoir, that founded Lenoir, is supposed to be buried out here. But one thing that I have seen, and if it's still up here, I'm going to have a heart attack if it's up here now. But one thing I have seen is behind this tree, there is a grave. Right underneath this big tree right here. And whenever I was in my teenage years, I used to come up here with my mom a lot because my mom used to love taking pictures. And she had took a picture of a doll that was sitting in this tree. And it was an older doll. And every time I come up here, I come to this tree to see if that doll is there. And it's never there. But right here is supposed to be buried a little girl. And the doll is supposed to be buried with her. Well, I don't know if this lady lies or not. And it's the same one I was also talking about in the church. My mom's husband's sister. We had mentioned that doll to her, and she had told us that the doll was supposed to be buried with the little girl, and she liked to put it in the tree to play pranks on people. So, I don't know, everything's just hearsay. But this church is really beautiful. I mean, if you don't want to come up here to find ghosts or anything, which I've tried coming up here and, catching something. I never do. But it's also a beautiful place to visit. And here's another old grave. And from a video that I watched, and I didn't know this, the preacher that hung himself is supposed to be buried in the cemetery. But not exactly in the cemetery. He is supposed to be buried outside the cemetery. And one of these is a little baby that's buried outside the cemetery. But then there's another grave right here that just has rocks marking the grave. So that actually might be where he's buried at. I don't know. The only way you'd find out if someone was actually buried there is to dig it up. And yeah, I'm not going to do that. But they have put something new in here. And I think they put it in here a couple of years ago. I didn't discover it till last year because I hadn't been up here in a long time. But that thing right there, that is new. They have recently built that in the past couple of years. I'm guessing it's for ashes. But right here is another old grave. No, I don't want to get too close to it because I don't want to be disrespectful stepping on people's graves. But I've heard a bunch of stories about people coming up here before they put the gate up. And one of them was actually my cousin. She said that she had come up here and opened the door, and it was at nighttime. Says she opened the door and seen a pair of glowing red eyes staring back at her from inside the church. And she says she shut the door and ran back to her car. But there's been a lot of people that's come up here trying to capture ghosts. And I don't know if anybody succeeded. But I want to get some ghost hunting stuff and come up here and see if I can capture anything or capture a voice or something on an EVP player. But as you can tell, all of these graves are really, really old. So this is Chapel of Rest, and it is located in Lenoir, North Carolina, in Happy Valley off of 268. It sits on top of a hill. If you've never been here, and you've lived here but you've never been here, I'd suggest, you know, coming to look around and everything, because I've came and took pictures and stuff. And this headstone over here has fell. I don't know if it had fell when I was up here the last time. I didn't notice it till now. But this is how old this graveyard is. This headstone was so old that it fell down. But if you're ever out and about in our little area, this would be a nice place to come and visit. And you can tell that they really don't take care of the graveyard, because these graves are old. 1930 and looks like 18 something. But it's got a bunch of leaves on it. So, I mean, they really don't upkeep it. But yeah, this is the Chapel of Rest. So I hope y'all enjoy the video. Hope I wasn't too boring. I'm not used to doing YouTube videos. But I will talk to all of you later, and follow and like my page for more places that I go and explore to share with all of you.